Hola, bienvenidos a esta tercera sección de preguntas y respuestas que estamos presentando en este primer día de actividades del 17 Festival Internacional de Cine de Monterrey. Hemos estado con invitados de las secciones de cortometraje internacional y en esta ocasión me toca platicar con Joaquín Pavao e Isabel Pinto, que ellos están representando su cortometraje de ficción Entre Sueños, que se traduce como Entre Sueños. Ellos son de Portugal. Y pues de nuevo vamos a estar hablando con ellos en inglés. Espero que no haya problema. Igual cualquier cosa les voy platicando cómo va la conversación. And I would like to start right off the bat. Thank you so much for having the time to be with us. Welcome. Congratulations on your selection to the festival. How are you? How are you feeling?
We're okay.
Yes, we're okay.
Feeling confident. No, I wanted to start. There is a very dreamy, there is a very dreamy atmosphere in your short film, and I would love to know, or if you can tell us about the genesis of the idea of coming up with this short film that is very much musical, and it's very much alive with a lot of color and movement. So I would like to first ask you about, like, where did this idea come from? How long ago? Has it been long since you started and coming to this screening in the festival? Like, what's the process been like?
Okay.
Yeah. So this short film is part of a project commissioned by the MIEC, which is the International Museum of Contemporary Sculpture. And this project began, I think, maybe 2015, we started to talk about this project. The main idea was to represent the sculptures, the contemporary sculptures that are made from artists all over the world, here in Santo Tirso in Portugal, and they are gathered in this museum. And so the project, the cinematographic project, was commissioned by this museum. So we started with three imperatives. So first, it should be a feature film, first before the short film. Then it should show the sculptures. And then there was a detail that was very, very important to us, that it should have a score composed by Oscar Flecha. It's a Chilean composer and guitar player that is based in Santo Tirso now. And it happens that this musical composition had 7 passages. And so we choose a sculpture to each passage, to each musical passage. And then, as we wanted to work with actors, as you can see in the short film, with actors, dancers, and performers that come to a human relation with the form, the shape, the sculpture, we added to each sculpture, each music, a verb. So, why a verb? A word that means an action. A verb because that leads to a movement, to the performer movement, and that leads to a fulfilled movement. And that was very important to us. So we could have 7 moments with 7 different ways to move and different ways to act with this kind of abstract shape, which is each sculpture. And we came to these 7 verbs: to be born, to eat, to play, to work, to build, to die, and to love. And then, as we started to work with the performers in the sculptures, we mixing all this, we understood that we had a kind of a new world coming up, and all those characters seemed to like they were somehow giving up being themselves and doing their choices. So they were just existing there and fulfilling something, doing what it was expected from them. And so we came up with this question, very simple one and very maybe a little naive question. How would we live if all of our actions were led by a voice? And we thought maybe a voice generated by an algorithm, because we are working all our contemporaneity is going through that. We are building our habits, our rules in algorithms and our daily routines. And so we started to create this world about how we humans came to it, and the deep conflicts that this hypothetical world would pose to us as individuals and to us as a community, as communities. So here people are led to give up their free will, their ability to choose and build their own ways. And that is a voluntary act, because this kind of new world was a non-violent one, because the main objective of this was to survive, was for human species to survive. And so we started to develop this idea. We started to create characters, and suddenly this project began to grow and to be larger than that film we were making. And so we decided to make 2 films. And so we made one, the first one, that is called Dreams. It's a feature film. We the premiere was in February 2020. And this one is like we show the world, this kind of new world. We show the emotions, the way human beings are behaving in this new context. And Among Dreams is a kind of open window to that new world. And then there is the other step of this project that we want to do it, but we are still in pre-production. That is called Sculpt, and that has more narrative. More narrative. It is a more narrative film, and there we tell the story of the world. So the first one, we show it, and in Among Dreams we open a window to it, and then in Scope we hope to be able to tell a story.
Wow, it's so rich. It's such a rich development of an idea, and it's really amazing that you have this vision. I was really interested about the part of the mechanics of dreaming, and just like as you were saying, like this, what if this voice is always telling us what to do? Well, isn't that how it happens? Like we hear a voice and we think we're thinking, and like I just find it very interesting that you're talking about dreams in a way, but you're also talking about the materiality of a sculpture and of movement. So I would like to know more about this concept of naming it a dream, or among dreams, or in between dreams. Like what does that mean to you?
Actually, when you have a world that there is no violence, there is no disease, there is no uh, desire to have things. You have no individuality. Uh, I ask myself, and we talk about it. Uh, how how can how can humanity uh, could, could be? And sometimes I dream. I sleep very little, so I dream a lot, and I put myself with the clock. I dream half an hour, and the clock will wake up, and I like to remember in these REM phases of the sleep how how can how can our brain edit image, how can he tell stories, and it's very interesting because we have a wonderful life, we have a wonderful sofas. We never had in the human history so good sofas and so good the time, and we are only 20% of the globe, and we are very lucky to have all these 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 things. So when when has the the privilege of this of this of this of this earth, and when we dream is very fascinating because in sometimes in these parts of the REM's sleep, our dreams are very loose, so are very exquisite because they are uh, they are not they are not they are not built from any existing source. So they are a mixture of of, of so many things. So uh, I nights and nights I wake up and I point, how can I tell these little stories? And if you saw this each dream, they have stories inside. They are they are in a fast pace, but these are not these are not only images, or these are a narrative of 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 my dreams. I dream like that. I saw these little stories, and I make these these joining points. Um, so I don't know.
Also, we were working with the archetypes which the artists who made the sculptures um, made shapes. There was a cube. There were several archetypical shapes. Okay, an egg, for instance, and all those verbs we came up with were initial verbs to our human existence. We see them like this: to born, to be born, to die, to eat, to love, and and there is a question. There is an interesting detail here, maybe, that is part of the narrative film, but is also in this first film. It's that people. inhabitants of this world, they should dream to do a reset, like a computer. So you have your computer and you need to make an actualization of all your software. So you dream, so you will make it's like cleaning. In, clean yourself, clean your mind, clean your mind.
And sleep is that.
Sleep is a little, yes.
When we sleep is like cleaning.
But here in this world, that is manipulated, and so you need to see all those images there. So in your reality, you will be shaped. You will be well. You won't suffer like you were suffering in the dreams. So you just feel in the dream. Inside the dream, you feel your emotion. But in the reality, so you are clean now. You don't need to
You're able to start another day with other thoughts.
yes.
And I think that is very interesting that we need reality to dream, do you think? Or are we imagining everything? Like, because in terms of filmmaking, a filmmaker also has to invent every picture, you know, every frame that you're going to see. So it's kind of interesting to compare the mind with the camera, and just like Joachim was saying, like it just edits it by itself. And this cleaning process, like in between dreams, what happens in between dreams is sort of like entering that process of cleaning. And for your short film, it's very interesting, it's very beautiful that you kind of took what you saw and then you just made it again for everyone else to see, you know. And I think that that's really like what filmmaking is about, you know, like if you can dream something and you can make it again for everyone to see forever, then you've done something. So I'm really impressed by the work you have done. I would love to know more about your, like, the previous film, like the feature film, and this other piece that is, let's say, work in progress. Where have you shown this film? Where has it take you in the world? Are you starting? Are you in the process of showing it? How it's going in that sense?
So and we show the movie, the film in February, and in 15 days, 1 month later, COVID appeared. COVID attack.
And the lockdown.
We just this feature film are, I think it's in a pause. We made a pause, so there is no possibility to show. I think now. So we are waiting that the situation becomes normal or new normal. To see how can we show the film, because this kind of cinema, and the cinema that we believe is not, it's not it's not only to saw one time or two times.
Okay.
It's movies to be there. I really like movies to see 5 minutes and stop, and let me just see this kind of 20 minutes and stop. And and for me, cinema is like painting. I always think about painting. And painting, well, when you saw these painters of the 19th century, they all made these compositions that you enter the you enter in a special kind of little narratives on these paintings, and so we need for this project spaces where people have time to see it. And in this COVID situation, nobody has time. Nobody has. I think now it's all about consumption, consuming things, consuming fast things, thinking of passing time, thinking how to feel good. But we are always talk about this now. It's difficult to make doubts, to have doubts, and to make perguntas.
Questions.
Yes,
Question.
it's difficult, you know, because the society is very
Polarized.
yes.
You don't have discussions, so the society is polarized, and it's a yes or a no. But even though the film was presented in some theaters in Portugal, there was a festival where we earned a prize in Banca, and but Costa Valente, Antonio Costa Valente, our producer, he thinks that it's best for this film to wait a little bit, and it's true that here in Portugal, cinema is going through a deep crisis, even because we really, even after lockdown, we lost almost 100% of people going to cinema. There is no people going to cinema really, and
Wow.
the times we presented, it was in theaters, in like community, small communities, theaters where people have the you used to go there to see a theater or some shows, and they went to see cinema, and sometimes we were presented and we could talk about the movie too, and that was very nice. And I remember in the museum, which is a it is contemporary art, so sometimes we get frightened because of we don't want to get far from people, far from the public. We know that maybe there are images that can shock somehow, or can be not so evident to have a reading as other films. But it was so very nice that people, there were 4 old ladies that were there, and they were talking in the end among them. Oh, you know, we need to come tomorrow because I want to see the detail there and there. And that was so, that was like, thank you very much. Now it was worth it to make it.
Wow, it's really surprising. You are right now in which part of Portugal?
We are in Porto, Gaia, Porto.
Okay.
Porto region. We live in Gaia. Our base is in Gaia. This museum is in Santo Tirso, is 50 kilometers from here.
Oh, okay. No, I'm asking. I myself studied filmmaking in Lisbon, and it's a very beautiful city, and it's a very beautiful country, and I sort of can see all of the things that I remember about Portuguese cinema studying there, and it's very it's so interesting the way that you just think about things, and the importance you give to like physical the physical experience, the physical of materiality of film. Also, I was around the Filmotheque, and it's just a really amazing experience, and I'm really glad that you guys are here with us. To kind of end the conversation, I would like to maybe ask you, in terms of how much time you spent on the project as it is right now, like the short film version, let's say. And what would you say to people that are trying to do fiction films in these days, that we're losing film screens and we're like going to digital and all of that? What would you have to say?
Well, in the first place, it's love. You know, you have to love. You have to you have to you have to not be capable to do anything else. This is you. And when this happens, you just do one thing. You every day for the rest of your life, every hour, every minute, every second you spend on working. And this is not a bad thing. This is not a workaholic speaking. There is no workaholic here. This is life. You know, I think that we are very happy because every little second in our life, we choose to do what we really love to do. So arts in general, I'm a musician. I started to be a musician, and I play guitar. And arts in general are not either difficult or easy. This is not this is not a balance between this. It's you or not. You know, we we speak each other, and we are always speak about our life. That is our art. We are speaking with friends, and we are speaking about art. We are buying things in the supermarket, and we are watching persons, and we are smelling things, and we are making small compositions of things, and we are hearing sounds, and there is music, there is color, there is all these kind of things are material. So I think that if you have love in your soul, it's so easy. It's so easy to do this because it's the only thing you can do.
We have a Portuguese philosopher. He's called Agostinho da Silva, and he said that the best work of art that you can do is your own life. Of course, artists do that for them. For us, it is our work. So it is not just a life. It's something that we give to others. So it's a responsibility too. It's not just for us. But if you love, you are opened. So you become a channel. And in that channel, as it passes through you, you transform it. Because that's the way it is. All things in life transform the other things from the past and transform it to a future form. So that's what we do.
And never this. I think the best advice to a young artist is never put yourself a hard bag, a heavy bag in your shoulders. Artists do not have history because each project, it's like starting from zero. If you ask me now what I'm do what is my CV, I cannot tell you because it's hard. It's really hard because the only thing that it's really important, it's the what we are doing now, and this is the main goal. And the second advice is to live and enjoy the incapacity, enjoy the lack of talent, enjoy it, and praise it. Came because the frustration of not doing a thing like we dream. It's very interesting because it's you, and we do not make objects. We have to make language, and I think this is the most important thing in the...
Yeah, that is very good advice. I love that. I love how much we still need to have these kind of films being done. We need people to talk about them, how you work, and yeah, I agree that more and more we are tending to consuming, even if it's art, we just want to have it in the moment that we want it, and meaning doesn't happen that way, and reflections, and like all of the things that you will find in this short film is more like a meeting with yourself. Like when you're watching something, you're sort of thinking like, oh, what does this mean? And that's maybe something that people don't like, but I think that is something that we need to do to keep having art as part of our lives. Otherwise, it's going to be threatened by everything, by materiality of cinemas, or by fundings. Like we need to kind of sit down, appreciate, and that's sort of what I want to invite everyone to do when they watch Entre Sueños, Among Dreams. I'm so glad to be with you. Thank you so much for the time you've given us to talk about your film. We hope that once we get to a certain amount of normality, we get to see Sueños as well, and everything you do after. Thank you so much. I don't know if there's anything else you want to address the public. It's fine. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Muchas gracias a todos por haber estado acá. Ellos fueron Joaquín Pavao e Isabel Pinto del cortometraje Entre Sueños. Va a estar disponible a través de Filming Latino a partir del 19 de agosto, que es este jueves, y hasta el 29 de agosto, que es cuando acaba el festival. Por el día de hoy serán todos los Q&As, pero durante la semana estaremos hablando con más personas, con más directores, actores, productores. Los invitamos a que se conecten a través de las redes sociales del festival. Pues muchas gracias por haber estado con nosotros en este live stream. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Hasta la próxima.